Good evening, dear friend. This is the Sunday version, the Sunday evening version of this, the 23rd of June. I got a lot to say today. I mean, we've got a lot for you to consider and think about. A lot of it great news. We always love good news. We love cautionary news. We love the truth. And the truth sometimes, well, the truth sometimes is a very strange thing. One aspect of truth is that there are 135 days until the election. 135 days. I don't even know how to every time I hear this, there's a part of me that says, "Oh my god. Oh my god. 135 days." It's right here. They're planning something. They're planning something. I have some ideas. I want you to think about this very, very carefully. There's good news. There's good news, but they're up to something. You can't turn your back on these people. But before we begin, I ask you first, everybody, check and make sure you are subscribed. You have no I don't know how this happens, but I'm getting more and more people saying, "Hey, I'm unsubscribed." I don't understand. I'm not suggesting please make sure you subscribe. Please like this video. We meet twice a day. I pour my heart out every single day. 2 hours of this at least, plus individual videos, plus a regular I'm doing this and you're doing this. We've got to remain focused, but we can't turn our backs on anything. We cannot let anything we can't rely on anything. These people are up to something. I don't know what it is. So please, first of all, make sure that you are subscribed. And before we begin, I've got a lot to tell you. Believe this is the show you want to watch. Listen first to this word from our great sponsor. 2 million people were hit in a massive debt collection data breach. The most valuable pieces of personal information to hackers were exposed, including full names, birth dates, and social security numbers. What's worse is that the hackers had unauthorized access to this debt collection database for over a week, nearly guaranteeing that they got every piece of information they could ever want on you. That's why I protect my personal data with today's sponsor, Virtual Shield One. And I absolutely love the security I get with them. Virtual Shield One helps protect my personal data, browsing history, and internet activity from data breaches like this one. It does this by continuously scanning the dark web, and it helps to erase my data anywhere it finds it. That's why my private data is better protected against cyber criminals, tech corporations, or ISPs. Plus, Virtual Shield One includes up to $1 million in identity theft protection insurance. So I know my data is safe. Every day, 3.8 million people have their personal records stolen from data breaches. Use Virtual Shield One to help prevent yourself from being one of them. Thanks again to Virtual Shield One for sponsoring Lionel Nation. Be sure to sign up by visiting virtualshield.com/Lionel, or simply use my link in the description below, because every sign up with that link gets up to 67% off with a 60-day risk-free trial. Give yourself the gift of peace of mind. Now listen very carefully. You cannot trust these people. I think you know this. I think we've all pretty much learned that. I want to give you some good news and not bad news, but news for you to be very to be very familiar with and very sure about. Number one, there is a move right now. There is a very, very, very serious move on the part, for the first time, of the Republicans to demand a drug test from the president. Now, this is fascinating to me. Everybody has to ask a question. Do you want to see President Biden tested for drugs? Tested for, quote, performance enhancement drugs. Do you? Yes or no? Who? Simple question. You want him tested for drugs? Pee in a cup, blood test, whatever it is. Do you want him to turn over his medical records? Do you want us, as a condition of his speaking, to tell us everything you are under? Cognitive testing, we'll get to that later. Do you want him to answer the question, are you or are you not taking Adderall or prescription medication? Are you or are you not taking prescription medication? Now think about this, and I want you to remember, remove any particular dislike of President Biden. Remove any particular dislike, and let's look at why this is such a big.
5 letters previously asking for President Biden to submit to a cognitive test, very similar to the one that President Trump got while he was president. And all 5 of those letters have gone completely ignored. So tomorrow I'm sending a letter to President Biden, to his physician, Dr. O'Connor, and I'm CCing his entire cabinet. And it's embarrassing that I have to do this, and it's really embarrassing as a former White House physician to have to do something like this, but we don't have any choice based on what's going on. But I'm going to be demanding on behalf of many millions of concerned Americans right now that he submit to a drug test before and after this debate, specifically looking for performance-enhancing drugs, because we've seen recently in his State of the Union address that there was a Joe Biden that came out that was not similar at all to what we see on a day-to-day basis for the last 3.5 years. And there's just really no way to explain that other than he was on something, that they'd given him medications. I feel like this is probably what's going on over this week at Camp David. He's going to be at Camp David for a full week before the debate. Part of that is probably experimenting with, just getting the doses just right, because, they have to treat his cognition. They have to give him something to help him think straighter. They have to give him something to wake him up, for his alertness. And then, he's been agitated. We see that all the time, and that's a common symptom or sign of this cognitive disorder that he seems to be suffering from. And so they're probably going to give him something to take the edge off that as well.
Does this sound like a doctor you want to go to? Would you want to go to that guy as a doctor? Seriously, I'm just being. Would you want to go to this doctor? Does this sound like a doctor to you? Does this sound like somebody who was able? Normally, it's like you would say, "Doctor, please, not so technical, please. We're lay people here, please, doctor." Do you understand how frightening this is? JT says Lionel should host the 4th hour of InfoWars. Oh, are you? Oh, what do you have, a death wish for me? You have a death wish? Dear God. With all due respect, I love the folks over there, but are you kidding? That is so radioactive. Oh my, it'll be years before that becomes safe. Now, I want you to answer me very simply. Number one, I cannot believe the number of people, because they don't like Joe Biden, or say he should take a drug test. Wait a minute. What about people who said, don't make me take vaccines, and don't make me test, and don't make me prove that my medical records are my. Do you want his medical records for us to go through and say, well, you're taking Adderall here? There are some cases where some adults have taken Adderall and it's actually benefited them. And there are some people who might be suffering from a little bit of cognitive, a little burnout. Do you want them to go into, you're taking a Viagra too? And an antidepressant? And what about you, President Trump? Oh, look at this. Finasteride. What is this? Hair loss, and also as for prostatic hypertrophy. And what? Oh, you're also taking. What is this? You have gas. Are you taking? Is this an anti? Can we see your? Have you had a colonoscopy? Wait a minute. Wait. What? Do you really does it matter that he's taking something Adderall? Listen to what he says. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now, my friends. I despise this administration. I don't know the president personally. He may be a swell guy. I don't think so. I despise, but I'm not going to subvert something which is even bigger. It's like, do we really want him to be kept from, or to have medical records? And what are we going to do? What if he does? What if he knows his, oh God. What if he know, what if we know he knows his, or we know his medical condition? I oh no, not this thing. I hate these enhancers. I hate these things. Excuse me. I despise these. Now, here's my point, and here's my question. And listen very, very good, dear friend. We don't need to take a drug test. We don't need it. Listen to him. Listen to what he says. The drug tests make no difference. What he says, what he's done, what he's about is horrible. What his record is the worst that we've ever seen before. Period. It's horrible. Whether he's taking Adderall or B12 has nothing to do with it. It doesn't make it worse, better, or anything. He has mental decline. If I were President Trump, I'd say, don't make him submit to that. Do you need, if I said, no, he didn't take Adderall, oh my God, then that's the way he is. Or he did take Adderall. Adderall, no, nobody's mentioned Adderall, but that's what we all know it is. You think they would say, don't mention our name, because I'm saying, well, if he took Adderall and he's that screwed up, or Adderall doesn't work anymore. We don't want, I've got to ask the questions. We were the same people who said things like, wait a minute, you can't make me take a vaccine. You can't make me disclose whether I've taken this or that. John McGuire says, why should anyone even believe a drug test? Am I watching the Lionel show? Why would anybody even believe a drug test? I don't know what that means. What I'm asking the question is very simply this. What does this mean? Forget about Biden. Forget about Biden. Now, cognitive test, a cognitive test. What can go wrong with a cognitive test? What can go wrong with a cognitive test? Anybody? Who gives the cognitive test? What are we looking for? But the best part is, do you honestly have to ask for a cognitive test? Would you let him, as my friend said, would you let him drive you home from the airport? Listen, I'm all for whatever it is. But think about this. Whoa, wait a minute, hold it. We're now piss into a cup to take a device over the debate? No. There are certain levels of intrusiveness that we as Americans should say, no. Lie detector? Somebody said a lie detector? Oh, dear God, no. How about tea leaves? How about phrenology? A lie detector? You want to have a polygraph? We're just throwing stuff out. We just hate him, and we want him to come forward, and maybe a plethysmograph. Maybe we'll just wire him. Maybe do a plethysmograph or some kind of an oxygen. I mean, this is nuts. We don't need this. I know it sounds great and it sounds funny, and if whatever it is, but there are people who are then going to come forward and say, don't give him any reason to incur any sympathy from anyone. If I were President Trump, I would say, you don't have to take a test. Listen to him. Listen to his policy from day one. I don't care if you go back 40 years ago. This isn't something that just happened now. Joe Biden wasn't good And then later on, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to insult your intelligence by telling you for a minute that this guy needs to be tested. For the love of God, look at him. Bradley says, how will Newsom enter the race? At or near the time of the convention. Anytime. Anytime. Anytime they want. Now, you want to get scared? You want to get scared? Want to get scared? Rafael Lagondi says, sir, why both candidates are 80 years old? Why are both candidates? President Trump is 8? Why are they both 80 years old? Because that's when they were born. I'm not sure what you're asking. Does youth, does older mean anything? Well, let me tell you something. There comes a point when you have to ask yourself, what does a president need? He's 78, President Trump. What does a president need? What does a president need? JTE says, ever use drug test results in court? I haven't, but we've used them. But for probation violation, things like that. You get a dirty urine or DUIs or things like that. Oh, I'm absolutely, you must understand something. This is a word that maybe, I hate to use that term, the libertarian. Oh, no. I don't, no. Piss into a cup. Piss into a cup? We're going to take a stool sample? Well, do you know that people actually believe that the president soiled himself when he was doing that kind of a frozen seat thing? Did you hear this? There are people who think I don't want to use this colloquial term, pooped his pants. What? There are people who believe it, and it became part of a meme. There are people who are talking about it, and what are you talking about? That's not what he was doing. I mean, if he did, he could. You can do it without doing that. People are really weird. I don't want President Trump to be giving up drug tests. What are you taking? What about this? What about that? There's some things that we as society should maintain is private. President Biden, have you and your wife ever sought marital counseling? Why? Have you ever been to a psychiatrist? Have you ever had therapy? Hey, Bobby Kennedy, you're a heroin addict. Piss into a cup. We want you to make sure you continue to stay clean, because the recidivism rate of people, especially with heroin, is very high. Piss into the cup, Bobby. Does that seem fair to you? Would you want that? What's the matter with us? John McGuire couldn't get higher says, people believe JFK Jr. is going to be the next VP. Who says that? There were people who thought that John Jr., remember him? That he was in the audience? Remember that lunacy? Bobby Kennedy Jr. is nowhere near this. It's going to be that Doug Burgum or Pergum. Why? Because Trump loves rich people. He loves these people. Does it matter? Only if Trump dies. Let me tell you something again. Does it matter? Only if Trump dies or something happens to him. It's the only thing a vice president does. They play these really weird games. Oh, do you want who's going to be? And we've already been through this. Now, let me just say something right now. I want you to always maintain something. We are Americans, and the rules apply to all of us. Let me go back to Bobby Kennedy. Who would want Bobby Kennedy? Who would want Bobby Kennedy to have to piss into a cup if he runs for office? If Bobby Kennedy if he has any kind of therapy or something, maybe to stay off drugs, do we have to know about that? Do you think it's necessary, kind of like Tony Soprano, that the president reveal that he's ever had psychiatric or therapy after his son and his wife died? What if he was going through a bad time then? What if he was going through a bad time and needed help? How many people here, how many of you great people Seriously, we're finding yourselves either in the throes of alcohol addiction or whatever. Let me ask you a question. I don't want to point fingers, but some of you have said before, you've said about your own particular life, your own particular challenges and struggles that you've had. Do you think that's anybody's business? Do you think that if you're running for, what does this mean? He's running for president, for God's sakes. Followed by, he's running for vice president, for God's sakes. Followed by, well, God, he's going to be a secretary of state. He's going to be a senator. My God, she's a congressperson. And it keeps going. He's a sergeant at arms. What are you talking about? How many of you want your privacy? How many, have you ever been to had a problem with alcohol or drugs? Maybe had an STD? You ever had that? Have you ever had a problem with that? Are any of you right now on any kind of SSRI or any kind of anxiolytic or anti-anxiety medication or cannabis or whatever it is because of spastic disorders, PTSD? Do you want this to be revealed? And do you think that somehow because he's the president, he waives that right? He waives it? Sorry, listen, we want to know everything. Why? Well, because, we want to know everything. Everything? And not only that, we want to know about your family. We want to know about your family and your kids. We want to make sure if there's anything running in. Who knows? There may be some trade. We were the same people who said, you've got no right to our bodies, right to our this. You've got no rights to us. You can't tell us what to do. I don't have to answer questions about this. It's ridiculous. We're losing our minds here. Let me try this again. You don't have to take a test. Look at Biden. Who needs a test? Open your eyes. Whatever he's got, I don't want it. Adderall, no Adderall, sleep, non-sleep, old age, dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever it's called, I don't want it. Look at him. He's out of his mind. We don't need testing. Time out. Hold it. You don't need testing. Not on this one. Not on this one. If you see a woman in her ninth month of pregnancy, usually you don't have to go get an EPT, a home pregnancy test. And why you want to find out if your home's pregnant, I have no idea. Okay? So let's just put this aside. This is ridiculous. This is like not, I think what President Trump should be, now listen to me carefully. What President Trump should do is to say, he's already done it. He's jacked up. Okay. It's a little bit too late. I would have taken a different tack. I would have said, leave the man alone. I'd show pity. And also, Mr. President, if you'd like to sit down at any time during this, please, I insist. I don't want any requirement. Listen, let's be fair. If you want to sit down, no problem here. I'll waive any rule that says we have to stand. JTE says, I thought of the Lionel Nation earlier this week. Turns out John McGuire can get higher. He just claimed victory for Virginia congressman. Excellent. I wonder if it's our Johnny. Johnny, is that you? Or is it the same one? One never knows. Now, here was something which is very interesting the other day. This was something which, this goes to show, and this was one of the things which I love about this president. All right? Let's put the pissing in the cup aside. That's just, I got to remind you, wonderful people, wait a minute. This is not who we are. Oh, the hell with him. He's president, for God's sakes. Yeah, but I don't care. He's a president. Okay, he's a president, but don't we have rules? We don't have rules. Not when it comes to him. He's Joe Biden, and we hate Biden. All right, fair enough. All right. This was a wonderful moment in which the president in Philly, this young man came up to him, dressed like him, and started crying. You really can't see it in this one, but he saw the president and just could not believe. He just freaked out. And Trump knows his stardom and knows how to act like a president. Watch this.
No tax on tips. By the way, no tax on tips.
Him?
I'm going to save TikTok.
Okay, that's not the one I wanted. Well, that'll do. This is the one I want.
I'm sure he gets a special sandwich for himself. Yeah, I'm going to do something. Come here. You're going to hit pay dirt.
He's crying. Look at this.
Watch. Look at him, huh?
Look at this. Got the red tie.
You know what that is? Andrew Jackson. All right, dude. We're going to time for you. We're going to make it value. We're going to add some value. Okay.
Isn't that beautiful? 78 years old. Look at this kid's tie. Doing a Rodney Dangerfield. Kid's losing it.
Look at this guy now. Come here.
Oh, look at that.
We just added a little value.
Watch it. I love this
I like
kid.
that kid.
I like that kid.
Jimmy McConnell. So if your parents don't want you, I'll take you.
Yeah, baby.
Is that beautiful?
Thank you, Mr. President.
See, that's the thing. That's the guy.
Thank you, Mr. President.
That's the guy. That's the guy I love. That's the thing, which is so. That's the guy I love. Get that across. Get it across perfectly. Let people know what we're talking about. Johnny Maz the Spaz says, when I was a police officer, we had a random drug testing, which I had a problem with. I had no complaints against me yet. I had to pee into a cup. Okay. I don't know what the purpose of that is. I don't know what the purpose of that is. What difference does it make if you're, I know why drugs? When you, that wind sounds like it's going to about to rain here. When you pee into a cup, what does that tell you, ladies and gentlemen? What does it tell you? What does it tell you? Tracy, you know about this. You know about this. Benjamin Franklin didn't piss into a cup. Well, at least not on purpose. What does peeing into a cup did it? What? My show just broke for a Biden fundraising commercial. Hey, look, he knows. He knows. I don't know. Come on, hillbilly. What does a drug test tell? What does it tell? What does it tell? If you pee into a cup, what does it tell you? Come on. What does it tell you? I don't know about peeing in a cup. Okay, come on. Like you'd never pee in a cup. Come on. They couldn't test for a drug in the 18th century. Thank you very much. That was the joke. That was the joke. See that? That's like the joke. Abraham Lincoln said, never trust what you believe, what you read on the internet. Abraham Lincoln, they didn't have the internet when Abraham Lincoln. I know that's the joke. Okay. Come on. What does it mean? What does it tell you? If you take the test and it says it's positive, what does that tell you? What does it tell you? It says if you are on drugs. Wrong, hillbilly. Wrong. If you are on drugs, if you've come into contact, no. What does a positive urine tell you? Anybody? Come on. Joe can't pee. He always misses. Very funny, Danny. Come on, I'm serious. Everybody wants him to do. So what does it tell? What does it tell? What does it test? What does it test? It's in your system. What does that mean? A lot of things are in your system. For how long? 30 days? 40 days? In your system. Is it fat soluble? Is it water soluble? Marijuana is in your system for 30 days. You're not high. It's fat soluble. You're not high. It's gone. Other things like cocaine, right through it. 24 hours, it's done. It's in and out. Marijuana hangs around. Fat soluble gets into your fat. You'll be positive for a long time. Cocaine's even worse. That's faster. That's why many people took cocaine, because it's faster. It's quick. Doesn't tell you anything. If you want to find out whether he's under the influence or not, you can take a blood test. Take a blood test. Stephen Lynch, by the way, says, who in your condition will be the candidate to replace Biden after he flops the debate? Again, who is going to be Gavin Newsom. Who do I want? I want Emmanuel Lewis, TV's Webster. I want the least competent person there is. The least competent person there is. That's what I want. Now, a couple of things here, my friends. This was something which is very interesting. And I love these new sort of newsy things, these news platforms, these streaming platforms, digital platforms. I like this one.
So let's start with, he was on time, 7 o'clock, which is good. But let's also go into...
By the way, see this Real America's Voice? I don't know what this is, but I like this guy. They have time. They're not doing that stupid, let me sound like everybody else. I like this. I like new platforms.
I put this on my Twitter and on Truth Social. I have done a lot of Trump rallies, and until now, the loudest one I've ever covered was in Alaska. Today, this was the loudest Trump rally that I've ever covered. And I think these people in Pennsylvania have had a belly full of Joe Biden and what they've been spoon-fed from the media and what they've been dished out by the Democrats. This state, this city is ready for President Trump, and you heard it here tonight.
I like that. I like that a lot. Now, listen to this beaut. This is, see if you can spot the Philly accent in this one. Listen to this woman. There's a couple of words she will use that are perfect.
Shut the border and deport them all. I'm tired of my tax money going to these people
Gary?
who don't belong here. It's one thing to be nice and it's another to be taken over. We're tired of being taken over. The hell with communism. Trump.
By the way, let's see if we get a top shot here. I noticed something on your arm.
Oh, yeah. President Trump signed it last year in Philly.
It's incredible. President Trump tattoo right there. How about you, sir? One of the most concerning issues to you is what?
Closing the border. We can't take all these illegals coming into our country and raising everything.
Yeah.
How about you?
Definitely the border and kids. Border, kids, money.
Yes.
Border for sure. Protect the border. Stop illegal immigration. Deport them all. I have a friend who was T-boned by an illegal immigrant in Delaware County. The county sanctuary, they couldn't do anything about it. And unfortunately, she's been blackmailed and everything. She's not the same. And Trump, please fix this.
And I know this is like your 151st rally, probably. I see you everywhere across this country. Let me ask you a question. For someone who's been to so many rallies and you see the crowd that we have here.
By the way, whenever you see somebody showing up to every rally, be careful.
In Philadelphia, we're not in rural Pennsylvania. We're in the city. What's your thoughts on that?
This is wonderful. It's like the Bronx, where I was also. I mean, this proves Philadelphia and the Bronx. They prove the tide has turned. Things have changed. I mean, the Democrats finally did it. They went too far. They pushed out the middle class, but now the lower classes, the working people who don't have money, they still want a safe country. They want their kids to be able to go to school without getting raped or killed. They don't want drug addicts shooting up in the steps of their churches. America is going to be great again, great for everybody. And these rallies in these urban areas once thought to be not worth it prove things have changed. The only way the Democrats will win is if they cheat more than ever.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Whoa, I'm glad you brought that up. What? What are you talking about? Well, let me explain to you something I'm very concerned about. As you can imagine, something I'm very, very, very concerned about. But before I tell you this. All right, dear friends, it's time yet again to hail and salute our great friends at Mypillow.com. And if you use promo code Lionel, you get a free gift. No purchase necessary. And yes, I know. A free gift. It's a tautology. So sue me. But first, listen. Check out their $25 extravaganzas. Listen to this. Premium MyPillows. King and Queen. MyPillow 2.0. MyPillow bed sheets. The lowest prices ever. Sandals, slides, and slippers. 6-piece towel sets. 4-pack dish towel sets. Simply and absolutely the best. It is unbelievable. So go to mypillow.com/Lionel or call 800-645-4965 and watch how fast Mike answers the phone. Mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. Mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. Simply the best. Simply and absolutely the best. I don't want to ruin your Sunday. But I want you to listen very carefully. Listen very, very carefully. By the way, Brian Hayes says, went to Hyde Point Park, New Jersey today. I was one of the few Americans out of more than 100 people. All appeared Latin American, driving Lexuses, Benzes, and BMWs. Well, huh? Down by the shore. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe there's a certain degree of affluence that these fine Americans have. I don't know. But we'll see. But I'm glad you brought this subject up. 2 things I want you to answer for me. Let me give you a scenario. Let me give you something that I'm worried about, and I don't know how they're going to do it, but don't be surprised if they do. You ready? Okay, work something like this. They start counting the elections, they start counting the ballots, they start counting all this stuff, and all of a sudden there's this surge of numbers. And they're saying, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. There's something wrong. They're cheating again. You go, no, wait. And it turns out that 100,000, 200,000, how many millions have come in? They're now voting. They've cast votes. And their names are right there. This man, with his thumbprint or whatever it is, cast a vote. He's a new alien, a new migrant, a new member, a new invitee, a new voter, and he casts his vote. What do you say to that? How do you know that's not going to happen? And by the way, you can have ballot watchers. Luella says, we can have ballot watchers. Watch the ballots. Watch New Democrats. Here you go. What is your name? Pedro Martinez. Where are you from, Pedro? Venezuela. I want to be America. Vote for Joe Biden. Aquí. Provisional voting, some statute, some law, some regulation, something that allows this, something we never saw coming. What are you going to do then? What are you going to do then? If they win and they're sent to all of those places where there's going to be trouble. And it's fair and square. If you count their votes fair and square. How do we know that's not going to happen? They're too quiet. They're sitting back and they're waiting. While we're talking about Adderall and piss tests and things like that, they're just smiling. They seem not to have a care in the world. They're not talking and they say, Joe Biden's doing great. What are you worried about? Aren't you worried about anything? Nope. Aren't you worried about crime? Nope. Aren't you worried? They know exactly the votes needed, exactly where to go. And lo and behold, as these people are put on trucks and buses and planes and flown in. And not only that, new Americans, new citizens, also changing voter rolls and population counts for the census. And new congressional districts as well. How do you know that's not going to happen? How do you know? How do you even know that's not going to happen? I don't know. Can anybody address this? Nobody's talking about that. I don't want to go through this and say, oh, no, count the votes. Count them. No Dinesh D'Souza, no ballots lost or stolen. No, count them. We know that Meridian County, Wisconsin needs 4,000 more. Go there. Hello, my name is Pedro Martinez. I'm from Venezuela. And I want to vote for Mr. Biden. Okay. Legal Schmiegel. Stephen Lynch says, how many Democratic voters would be naive enough to vote for a well, you say greaseball like New Scum. Stephen, you are kidding me, are you not? Are you kidding me? You are kidding me, right? And by the way, thank you. You are kidding me, right? You're kidding. No, tell me you're kidding. They would love him. Are you nuts? They voted for Biden. 65 million, whatever it was, right? Are you kidding? See, this is the part where people say, This is where I'm saying, okay, I am leaving you on this one. I'm leaving you on this one. I see. This is where you and I. This is where we don't get along. Not don't get along, but we don't see eye to eye. You always see things from your point of view. Do you know that there are people right now who ask you the same thing about President Trump? There are people who look at you and they say, I don't know what you're possibly talking about. He is the worst person who's ever lived. And you're saying, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And they say, don't you understand? I love this man. They think you're out of your mind. That's the part that kills me. They think you're out of your mind. And they say, but he's have you heard it before? He's a sex, an assailant. He's a defendant in a sex crime. And he's the worst person in the world. And and you're thinking, what are you talking about? I love this man. What are you, crazy? How can you possibly vote? You've heard this before. How can you possibly vote for him? What are you, nuts? Are you crazy? How many times have you heard this? How many times have you heard this? They think exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. How do you do that? See, this is the part where I don't understand this. And I know you don't mean anything by this. I think you're a good man and you're a good person. And you probably mean this well. You probably mean this in a very nice way. You probably mean exactly, you don't mean any harm, but they love him. Comes out with his tailored suit and his blonde wife and his kids, and he's like this, and he got every schmaltz down. But don't you understand that California is tumbling into the sea, as somebody would say? And he says, I know. It's not my fault. Brian Hayes says Gavin is Christian Bale in American Psycho. Maybe. They think he looks great. They think he's able to articulate the Democratic position better than anybody. He shows up on time. He's run the seventh largest. Well, if California were a country, it'd be like the seventh largest country in the world. Oh, see, this is where you don't get it because you hate these people. You hate these people. You can't understand it. They love him. I know people are going to hold their nose and vote for Trump. I mean, vote for Biden. And just like there are some people who are going to do the same thing. See, this is the thing. There are things, my friends, I don't get. I don't get golf. I think I can't imagine who wants to play golf. It's the most it's a ball, hit it and wait. That's it. One piece of and fuck. But I know people love it. And I would probably invest in a golf course. I would think it'd be great to have a golf course. You might want to even live in a golf course. You have the best lawns. But I hate that. I don't understand how anybody, and fishing. I think fishing is the most stupid thing I've ever seen in my life. I can't imagine sitting there with the thing waiting for this. I'm sorry. But I know people like it. It doesn't matter what I think. I don't want to see Taylor Swift, but I know people love to see Taylor Swift. I know. When the Stones came, I love the Stones. The Stones came to MetLife Stadium in Jersey. I think, who wants to go see this? I'm not going to see the Stones. I'm someplace else, and I'm going to hear Jumpin' Jack Flash for whatever. I can't really see. Like, well, that's them. Maybe the ambiance. So my point is, it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think. They're going to love him. And don't be surprised if it's Gretchen Whitmer. I've always heard Gretchen Whitmer. Always. Now, here's the best news. Ready for this? I'd float a picture. You know who Tyler Cherry is? Who's Tyler Cherry? Anybody? Tyler Cherry. Tyler Cherry. Somebody says, don't forget, old Joe is corrupt. Yes. Yes, we know that. Thank you. Who's Tyler Cherry? Who's Tyler Cherry? Come on. What's the name? Did you see the name today? Are you following what's going on? Who's Tyler Cherry? Oh, wait. This is a big story. Are you following this? Are you following this? This is big. You got to watch you got to follow your trending. You got to watch your X or your Twitter. Who's Tyler Cherry? Unbelievable. This is the story which I thought for sure you would have gone nuts over. This is your story. Wow. Not Tyler Perry, Tyler Cherry. Who can go right now? Who can go to the first? Let me see if I can do that. I can't. Do you ever follow libs of TikTok? I don't want to say shocked. But Tyler Cherry is as follows. Tyler Cherry is the latest. Oh, you're going to love this one. Tyler Cherry is the White House condemned the online harassment against Tyler Cherry from the woman who runs Libs of TikTok. This is according to Tyler Cherry, a spokesperson for the Department of the Interior. And they say that there's this move because, they want to get rid of Libs of TikTok. They just can't stand her. Chaya Rashik. And she basically is saying, they said this is the director of the secretary, he is the communications director for the Secretary of the Interior. And what's happening right now is Cherry, who is a recent honoree in Forbes 2023 30 Under 30, was targeted in a series of derogatory posts by Rachel. He is being moved to they're going to move him, we suspect, to the how do I say this? They're going to move him to replace, believe me, and Mrs. Ellen and we're talking about this, she's spot on. Don't be surprised if he replaces Karine Jean-Pierre. This is a man who was in a just Tyler Cherry. Don't just do the math. Do the math. Now, when you see him, you will find yourself thinking, what's going on here? What's going on here? Let me tell you what they're doing. Number one, they're trying to set up our friend from Libs. I've never met her, but they're trying to set her up. They're going to do something. Well, she's on Twitter, so she can say whatever she wants. But they're going to go after, and by the way, if you're on Instagram and Facebook are the worst. The worst when it comes to just shutting people down who dare to say something different. There's a picture of Mr. Cherry, standing in a dress, dressed as either a woman or a trans or non-binary, whatever it was. Do not be surprised if they put him in, and I think put him in to replace Karine Jean-Pierre. And you're going to see, and if you think that the bald-headed dude who was stealing the luggage at the airport was bad, wait till you see Mr. Cherry. Look him up. Look him up. They are going to push this as far as you can get. And it's going to freak you out. You say, wait a minute, why are they doing this now? Why now would you dare? Why would you move anybody? Why would you say, attention until the election's over? No more Rachel Levines, no more trans people, nobody. No special events at the White House, no women flashing, nothing. Nothing. Because for a while there, we thought, well, they're obviously changing their way they're thinking because they're upping their game to be more, not child friendly, but more trafficking friendly and the like. And nobody can figure this one out. Nobody can figure this out. Do not suspect for a moment. They are setting them up. And what they're doing is they're saying this is an online hate campaign. What he did years ago was his own problem. He hasn't done that in a while, and it's not against the law. and this is hate, and these are the Republicans, and this is what happens. Mark my word. I'm telling you. And you know what else it does? What it does too? I'm going to use your favorite word. Distraction. It's the pen light that kiddies run after. Republicans go nuts. Look up Tyler Cherry. Look up Tyler Cherry. Does it matter at this point? But what are they doing? Try to figure it out. Why are they so calm? What are they planning? They're planning something. They're planning something which is so scary. I'm telling you. They know exactly what they're doing. This. Listen to me and listen good, because I love you. Do not get complacent. Do not think everything's in the bag. Do not think it's not too big to rig. They could rig this legally. With all of these people, the replacement theory and all of that stuff. And then you're going to say, now do you know why they're here? Do you understand now? Okay, close the border. We just won. We have a permanent Democratic Party. They're all situated. We have a permanent majority now. We're going to repeal the filibuster rule. We're going to pack the Supreme Court. We're going to make D.C. the 51st state. We've got a permanent majority. Come on in. Now you know. Now close the border. We got all that we need. That's enough. Now you know why we did it. And by the way, Tucker Carlson, you were right with the replacement theory. You were 100% correct. And we yelled at you. We called it racist because we could. We jumped at everything. Anything we told you, you just responded. You just went the other way. We did this. And now we're going to put this guy in, and people are going to go crazy. They're going to go one step further. You think Karine Jean-Pierre, this gay woman, was something? Black woman? You ain't seen nothing yet. The first either non-binary or trans person ever. Not Rachel Levine, but somebody in front of, let's see Ducey do this. Start all over again. And you're saying to yourself, wait a minute, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Precisely. You're going to go crazy. There's the best part about this is like trying to predict this like a mad bomber or something. You're wondering, why are they doing this? It's incredible. Listen to what I'm saying. And I know nobody wants to hear this, but ask yourself the question. Are we not turning our back on basic civil liberties by demanding that a president of the United States piss into a cup when you don't have to? Look at him. When somebody's on the ground and he reeks of alcohol and he's passed out, you want to take a blood alcohol level? Go ahead. Be my guest. You don't need it. It's, hey, he's a 0.25. No kidding. Look at him. Think about what I've said. Brian Hayes, thank you. Stephen Lynch, thank you. Think about what I said. Stephen Lynch, thank you. Johnny Maz the Spaz, think of you, JT. I shouldn't call you that. I just like the Spaz. There was a guy named Spaz who was in the National Lampoon High School yearbook. One of the funniest things anybody has ever seen. Johnny McGuire couldn't get higher. Congratulations on your congressional race. And Rafael Legonde, Bradley Opland, thank you, buddy boy. And thank Mr. Yes, and thank you for that. So just keep in mind. Don't lose your mind. Don't lose your mind regarding this, but understand. Understand what this is, what was happening. Watch. Know what these people think. All right, dear friends, and also follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Lynn's Warriors on YouTube and on Twitter or X or whatever it's called. You got it? All right, dear friends. You have a great day. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. You've been superb, dear friends. Have a great and a glorious night. Until we meet again, remember the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da, da.